I have with us today Dr. Erdal Ozkaya. So, take us to a very interesting topic. It's called the art of cyber defense. Dr. Erdal is a leading cybersecurity professional and an award-winning technical expert and speaker who focuses on securing the cyberspace and sharing his real-life skills as a security advisor, speaker, lecturer, and author. Dr. Erdal is known to be passionate about communities, creating innovation and technology. His recent awards include Cybersecurity Professional of the Year, MEA, Hall of Fame for CISO Magazine, Cybersecurity Influencer of the Year 2019, among others. So with that, I leave the stage to Dr. Adil. The stage is all yours.
Thanks for the introduction, Aditya.
Adil, your voice is gone. I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Your voice is gone again. Your voice. No, I still can't hear you. Yes. Yeah, guys, we just work. I think the microphones. You might want to refresh the page, Adil.
Can you hear me now? Test.
I can hear you now.
Cyber defense. They are in the
Again, Erdal, your voice is gone. Erdal, you. I think you use your internal speakers as opposed to your AirPods. That would be clearer. Sometimes AirPods give a connectivity issue. Are you guys just trying to work this out? Just give us a second, guys. I'm just trying to get the speaker back. I think.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, now I can hear you.
All right. Sorry for that. Promise I'm gonna still stick to my time, not steal the next speaker's time. All right. I don't know what you could hear, what not, but I will start from the beginning. I was giving the introduction of why do we need to, oh, let me share my screen, of course. That's also important, right?
Yeah, the screen.
Perfect. I guess you can see it now. Yes, all right. Thank you again for the introduction. As Aditya said, I'm Dr. Erdal Ozkaya, working at Standard Chartered Bank as the regional CISO responsible of multiple countries. In my free time, I write lots of books and attend events like this because I like to share. I believe the best way to be a good cyber defender is to unite against hackers. And for that reason, I take place in lots of community activities. That's why if you want to keep in touch with me, please do so. This is my Twitter, LinkedIn, and blog details. I would love to stay in touch with you. And if you tweet about the session, you will get one of my ebooks totally for free, again as ebook, unfortunately. So what I'm going to request you is now take a screenshot of the session, tweet about the session, and everybody who tweets is going to get a free ebook from me. Now let's start. Why do we need to defend? Why it's important to understand the cybersecurity landscape? As we all know, our world is changing. Unfortunately, the change is so impactful these days that none of us could imagine. I think the last pandemic was 100 years ago, and we were not connected as much as today. Today, we are in a stage that nobody could imagine. These changes, of course, started with COVID. It started to lock us down at home. We had to switch from being in the office, from being outside to be inside. COVID has enforced our digital transformation. Everybody, all these big companies, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, SAP, Salesforce, they were all talking about digital transformation. Every company in the news lines were talking on how do they change, but nobody was ready for this. What happened is people, they had to switch, as I said earlier, from, as you know as well, from office to home, but the infrastructure was not ready. Even if you had laptops for your employees, you didn't have the right VPN bandwidth. You didn't have the right infrastructure to switch overnight. Unfortunately, all this happened. I mean, yes, it started early this year in Wuhan, but nobody has foreseen it was going to be that big, even the World Health Foundation, right? So this change started to impact us, and as a result, the hackers started to abuse this as well. We have to get used into the new normal. So what is this new normal? Promise I'm not going to speak about Corona or how Corona has impacted us as a health, but I'm going to focus more how you need to adjust to this environment and defend your networks, your employees, your customers, your basically confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So you read this a lot in the news. If you're on Twitter or any newspaper or LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it, you see that all these big names can get hacked. But how is this happening? Honestly, I would highly recommend, if you are already not, to keep an eye on data breach investigation reports, which Symantec, Microsoft, Kaspersky, and Verizon publishes every year. One of my favorite one is the Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report. If you look into this report, this shows what has changed in the last 5 years. I don't know if you see here the misconfiguration, error misconfiguration. In 2015, it was really not that serious. But if you can see, if you follow my mouse, you will see that misconfiguration error in 2020 is the most abused error. Why? Here we go. Corona. You had to switch in one night from office to home, and let's assume you didn't have the right VPN bandwidth. You were in rush. As a result, you didn't have the usual time that you will do with POCs, with security testing, with maybe penetration testing. It enforced us, even though these results are not reflecting yet coronavirus, by the way, this is from earlier, but I believe next year on this time we're gonna see this even growing up. We still believe in technology. Of course, I believe in technology as a technologist, as a PhD holder myself, but we still believe that just investing in technology is gonna help us to be secure. No, unfortunately not. Again, if you look, phishing, social phishing was always high. The demand kept staying high, and this is gonna keep staying high as well, especially in this corona. Why? Because this is the easiest way to reach out to you. I mean, if I want to hack you and I have a coronavirus to give it to you, you have to be next to me. The easiest way for me to send you a computer virus is via email. So I'm not gonna go through the details of this report, but if you later check and see what are the trends of the attackers, you will be able to have better defense strategy. Again, it's really important to understand the tactics the hackers use. As you can see, 45% of the breaches are featured as hacking. And they use like different attack vectors as well as different threat actors getting involved to use this attack vectors. But if you can analyze this and look on, it's like being a sports coach. In India, cricket, for example, or in US, NBA, in Europe, football. What a coach will do is they will analyze their players. They will usually look who is in the top form, and they will put them into the field, in the starting field. And depending on the game, they will just change the players to boost up the strategy and to win the game, right? What also happens is a good coach will usually analyze the opposition team as well, how they play, their strengths, their weakness, and they will usually, the coaches will usually try to find weak areas to and to build the right tactic to win the game, to get the points. Do you think hacking is different? No. And again, this report here, which you have right in front of you, is showing you that, you know what, malware is really not the most used tactics, or the misuse is really not that high. I mean, 8% is quite high, of course, but it's more about how errors been used, is more about who is behind the attacks. It's more about how they can utilize the errors that you have to reach you, to breach you. And when we look at it, unfortunately, pass the hash or use of stolen credential is also still high. Why? Because unfortunately, you are sharing the keys of your network, and this is your password. We still see that many passwords are reused. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I talk to you now, you will all tell me you have a strong password. Your password is more than 10 characters. You use lowercase, uppercase, and any kind of different combinations. You promise me that you will never ever use your corporate password into your Facebook, into your Gmail. But if everybody is that good, then how come that stolen credentials are still playing big in attacks. So why I'm telling you this? Because today you want to learn, from me, the art of cyber defense. And the best way to defend is to know who is attacking you. And if you look why hackers attack, of course, money is still high, as you can see. Or if you look, fame is again which motivates the hackers. Or sometimes the nation states, they don't care about your money, they don't care about the fame, they want to spy on you. So why train a James Bond, send them to country X, try to invest on them so much, and they can get sometimes easily caught? Instead, create a virus, a worm, a Trojan, you name it, a malware, which can penetrate the networks and get the secrets for you with a mouse click. So it is much easier today to use technology to gain what you want to. So where is the problem? The problem is, unfortunately, between us and the attackers. Us as defenders, we have a huge network to defend. Employees, insiders, customers, virtual machines, network devices, mobile devices, or technology with Bluetooth, or wireless technologies, you name it, where the attackers has only to find one and only one way to get in. So how are we going to defend against this? As you know, the attackers keep getting evolving. They always find different ways to penetrate your networks, to give you a hard time, not personal to you maybe, but you as me, for example, as the CISO, regional CISO, I'm number one responsible of my region to ensure that we are safe. Otherwise, not just my customers, the regulators are on my neck as well. An example, if you remember last year, the British airline hack, they had a small breach in the flyer point memberships. Honestly, the incident was not that big, but the fine was more than 250 million US dollars. Can you imagine? $250 million of GDPR fine. Honestly, if I were a hacker, I would just tell, hey, company X, you know what? I have your data. I can just release it, or you will get fined $250 million, or just give me 1 million, and I will. So basically, any types of ransomware is coming to us, I believe. So ransomware is not always to encrypt the data and asking for Bitcoin. Sometimes I think this is going to change as my prediction. This is going to change to get different attack vectors. So what should you do? It's time for you to think like hackers. If you don't think like hackers, if you don't know what they do, how they do, how are you going to defend them? You want an example? Here's the example. Chen Tzu, here's his book. I love it. I bought it. I usually put dates. I bought this in year 2000, so nearly 20 years ago. And it's called The Art of War by Chen Tzu, which is written 2,500 years ago than today. He says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you don't have to fear of any results. To win a war, you have to know yourself, but this is not enough. You have to also know your enemy. Unfortunately, this is not also enough. You have to also know the attacking background, right? This will help you to win the battle. Again, why did I tell you this? If you remember, I gave an example of sport coach a few minutes ago. Now I'm giving you a great general's code to help you to learn how to cyber defense, because it is important to know who are you dealing with. The attackers, they're patient. They're patient. They have lots of time. They can wait for the right moment to attack. You want an example? If you remember the Malaysian airline, remember it went missing, and unfortunately, after a few years, they still couldn't find it, unless I'm not aware. What happened is, as soon as the airline went missing, the hackers abused this and started to send lots of spam to Malaysian government. And believe it or not, they hacked not just the Parliament House of Malaysia, not just the king, not just the military. They hacked a big percentage of the government entities, and all what they use is here we found sending emails regarding the missing airline. Then they're determined. They will always look for a different vector to get in. An example, the ransomware attacks that we see today in 2020 are not the same as 2016. Yes, the name is same. Yes, the tactic is same, but the attack vector has been evolved to beat out today's defense mechanism. Attackers are insensitive. They really don't care, neither about you, about your family, about your health, or anything else. All what they focus is themselves. An example, if you remember the big fire in Australia, as a proud Australian, I like to talk about Australia, but unfortunately this was not a proud moment. Our government were slow on fighting the fire, and the fires were on for months and months. And what happened is, there were many donations collected by volunteers to help to support the people in loss, the wildlife, and so on. What did the hackers do? They attacked those websites and they steal the money which was collected to give for the ones in need. They didn't care. They are risk takers. They know if they attack an organization, they might get caught. Do they care? Of course they care. They try to not leave any footprint if they're smart. And they will try to excel and get what they need to get. So they take the risk. If they're not careful, they will be caught. They have to be careful, and they have to be deviant. So this is the profiles that we see today. How do they think? As you noticed from my early examples, and as you probably know, they're sophisticated. They will only choose adventures that can exploit successfully. They will usually look to the weakest links and easiest way to attack. And if you remember my introduction to Verizon or to Symantec, you name it, or the KeepNet Labs phishing report, they usually tell what kinds of mistake we defenders do. Misconfigurations, phishing, reuse of passwords. Remember the list in the beginning? So they in my previous role, I used to work for Microsoft, and I was a proud employee of Microsoft until I joined the bank with this great offer. I met many fortune companies, many governments, many customers that I have today really great relationship. And every time, unfortunately, I used to meet a attacked customer, they used to tell me, Erdal, tell us please, is this not the most sophisticated attack vector? I'm like, no, this is the same attack which was used 2 weeks ago against that government or against that customer or against I can see the same signature. Why I'm telling you this? Because if you don't care what's happening to your next door, let's assume there's a fire. If you don't care, then let's assume you don't like your neighbor. If you don't go and help the neighbor that you don't like to turn off the fire, it might spread to your house. So you better be aware. You better know what's happening in your surrounding, and you better keep an eye in your network to see if you're ready to those kinds of attacks. For the ones they have ISO 27001, the PDCA, plan, do, check, act policy. And this non-stop continuously is the key. So if you plan well, if you get your plan to life and you do it, and if you keep checking on the process and on the changes, and if you keep acting on fixing the changes to ensure that like there is a patch, for example, a new patch, then you should be much more secure than the most. Again, it's important for you to know that most successful attacks leverage known vulnerabilities, such as misconfiguration, human error. I'm not just saying that. You saw the Verizon report. I used to work for Secunia or many years ago, or EMT distribution worldwide in EMT holding. I was paid resource by Secunia, and Secunia was a vulnerability research company. I mean, even today, I blog posts about it. Like many people think, oh, you know what? I use Linux, I use Red Hat, and I can see many Red Hat certified gentlemen see in this event as well, such as Aditya. Okay, but did you know that Red Hat was the most vulnerable operating system last month? Oh, Microsoft! Do you know Microsoft is number 6? Do you ever notice the changes in Apple? All the update pattern, have they changed? How often it changed? Attackers really don't care much about platforms. They look at the popularity and they create attack vectors based on the most popular use. Like, let's assume you have your own operating system which is used by 6 people, and you're a small business. Do you think the attacker is gonna spend time to learn your operating system to attack you, or they're gonna use the most used operating system to find the easiest attack vector and reach out to you? One more tip: noise is an attacker's best friend, and the attackers have become extremely adept at using it. There is a great saying, if you use Kali Linux 10, 12 years ago, the more quiet you are, the more you hear. So if there is some noise, try to concentrate, try to look in your main vectors. And of course, attackers try to identify assumptions that security depends on. I have my next generation firewall. I have my latest antivirus. What about the fileless attacks? What about social engineers? What about misconfiguration error? What about reuse of the same password? So, to defend in art, you have to think outside the box, because hackers do so. Please, no, there is no difference between you and the hackers. Sometimes attack is the best defense, or defense is the best attack. For me, there is really not much difference, because, as I mentioned earlier, they use similar technology. I mean, I see this a lot. Oh, hackers, they don't use Windows. Really? Then how do they find the configuration error in Windows? They have some goals, as you do. They have some budget, as you do. The difference with you, they might have a bigger budget than you. Why? They use some stolen credit cards. They steal some money. Sometimes they might have unlimited budget. Yes, correct. But if you an insightful security professional or a C-level, then the board, you should be able to know how to convince the board. Because here's another, look, honestly, I got PhD in cybersecurity, but I still bought this book. I mean, you saw I have more than 15 books with my name on it, and maybe that much without my name on it. So I have lots of books, but I still invest on some business books to see how the board is thinking and how I can pass my thoughts towards the boards, the businessmen. So the art of defense involves understanding, involves communication, involves collaboration, and this is a skill that you have to have. Just being technical is not going to take you much far away. End of the day, both you and the hackers have a job to perform. Their job is to attack you. Your job is not to get attacked, or unfortunately everybody's getting attacked, but not to be harmed by the attacks. As James Comey says, the ex-FBI director, there is two types of organizations. One, they know they've been hacked. Two, they don't. I repeat, one, they know they've been hacked. Two, they don't. So, what is the difference then between us and hackers, if we are that similar? If you remember, I said in the beginning, attacker has only to find one way to get in, while the defender has to defend everything. With us, the defenders, we have to know everything, but the attacker must get everything right, while the defender has only to detect one part of the attack. An example. If you remember Melissa Gate, I think it was one of the most successful viruses in the history. In early 2000s, I don't remember the exact date, but I remember dealing with this a lot. What it was doing is, somehow it was infecting your computer and restarting your computer once. Please be honest. Who is getting, I mean, not now, but 5 years ago, who was getting, or 10 years ago, who was getting, I forgot the word. Who was getting paranoid? I found that. Who was getting paranoid when the computer reboot once out of blue? Or you received that of blue screen only once? Nobody. But that virus had a bug on it in the earlier versions, and it was keep restarting the computers. As a result, someone found the attack and they tried to detect to stop it. So what I'm trying to say is, the attackers, they don't have unlimited parts. They have unlimited parts, but they don't have unlimited tries to hack you. They have to be smart. So you have to be smart too. You have to practice thinking like an attacker. I mean, I tell this all the time. For me, life is cybersecurity. Yes, I repeat, my life is cybersecurity. I mean, let's be honest. When you go out, like I live in Dubai currently, very safe country. You can just leave your door unlocked. Most probably nobody is gonna come in. But I still lock my door. Why? Most probably doesn't mean 100% nobody is gonna come in. Or let's say you live in Australia, in a suburb where, or in India, or in Turkey, in a suburb where the crime rate is high. Are you gonna not lock your house? Of course you're gonna lock your house. The extra measure you will have maybe is to have one extra lock. I mean, what else can I do? Add an alarm. Yes, I don't have an alarm here, but my car does. My car has an app. My car has an app where you can just, I don't know if you can see it. I can just control my car straight from my phone. As it has some benefits, as you can see at the moment, my car is unlocked. Seriously, why it's unlocked? Luckily, I can just lock it from here. See, now it's locked. Honestly, I didn't done it for a reason. I just noticed that the car was unlocked when I was just checking out for this. So what I'm doing is, I was not trying to show off about how cool my car is, which it is. I was trying to show you is, I usually keep an eye on my surrounding and what's happening. Because for every system you interact with, you have to think about what it means for it to be secure. And you have to imagine how it could be exploited by an attacker. Now, let's think about, you walk in the street and in your backpack you have $100,000. Will you work? Will you walk? Not work. Will you walk the same route that you usually take, which is from the shortest street, which is dark, or will you usually get the routes which is there's lots of people around, which is not dark? Let's say usually you don't take taxi, but in that day you will taxi. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, you will put some safe measurements around you. Maybe you will ask your friend to walk with you. So why is this not the same when it comes to your systems? You heard what James Comey is saying. He said there is two types of organizations, right? So if you know that you're either hacked or you are just about to get hacked, why you are not assuming breach and you are acting as you can be breached any millisecond? And as a result, why are you not implementing the defense best practices? By the way, I noticed there's like 15 tweets. Thank you very much, 16 tweets. Everybody who tweeted so far, I can see lots of name, is winning the ebook. Thank you very much for all of you. You all will get the ebook. I will read it towards the end. Let me finish on time. I don't want to steal the next speaker's time, and I started a bit late anyway because of the technical issues. So what should you do? As in everything, remember, sport coach, you have to build the best tactic to win against the opponent. Why is India not better than Australia? Good in cricket. Okay, I'm just joking. Don't take it serious. Honestly, I have no clue of cricket. But why is, for example, Brazil too good in soccer? So because they have the good players, but having good players is not enough. You have to have also a good coach, which keep the players sharp, which analyzes the opponent. So they build a strategy. You, as cyber defender, to build the art of cyber defense, you have to have a cyber strategy. What is a cyber strategy? A cyber security strategy is a plan for managing organization security risk according a risk tolerance. Remember, assume breach. Remember, you should have an eye on what's happening, regardless how big your network is. You should meet the business and organizational objectives and goals as well. You should know your current state. You should have a vision for the future. You should have a roadmap which you can fulfill step by step. You should be mobile. Here we go. Remember my beginning? Coronavirus, and how it affected us? Your implementation should be agile, and you should adopt with best practices. So, one more important tip for you. The goal of cybersecurity strategy is not to be as secure as possible. You should be secure as necessary. By the way, Aditya, how many more minutes do I have? Can you please type it to the chat? Oh, you're there?
No, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. You need to wrap up in about 5 minutes. I think I need 5 minutes.
Perfect. I'm just about to finish anyway. All right.
Yeah.
Back to Tzu. The strategy without tactic is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before the defeat. So please ensure you have a future-proof cybersecurity strategy, which identifies the key challenges, which is based on a framework that you can pass through, which is coordinated to address challenges. And as I said in the beginning, which is part of continuous monitoring and adaptation platform. So your investment strategy should not be to buy everything, should not just be investing in technology, but also in your talents. You should not just care about software and hardware, but also physical security. And you should be ready for a cyber attack. So how can you be ready for a cyber attack? As I said earlier, if you plan, if you do, if you check, and if you act on what you find out, if you let your ego go, what do I mean with this? I will not be hacked. I have the next generation. God knows how much I hate this word, next generation. Every vendor who comes to me, as soon as they use the next generation, honestly, I try to finish the meeting. I don't want the next generation. I want something which can be helped next as well. To help to me next as well. You know, like if you look at the TV ads, you will see, for example, oh, it kills, like, here's my hand sanitizer. It kills 99% of the germs. Hold on, which means there's 1% of the germs still active, right? Or it says 90% sugar free. No. This means there's 10% sugar on it. 93% fat free. No. There is 7% fat. And you might be in a diet which 7% of, let's say, 500 grams is quite a lot. So please let your ego go and try to think outside the box. Find out what is going wrong. Eliminate the problem. Invest on training. Have a proper communication plan and test. Like I talked about password reuse. Who wants my password? I can give you my password right now, no problem. Honestly, you want my password? You can get it, but I have an app called Authenticator. As you can see, my Facebook, my Gmail, my Twitter, my Microsoft account, my Azure ID. Right now, you can, in the next 3 seconds, you can reuse my password. Otherwise, unfortunately, you're not going to be logged into my account. Use MFA. Please patch your systems. Please, as you're doing now, attend the free webinars. Learn what you can do together. And keep in mind, you cannot defeat the threats of the present with the tools from the past. Remember a few minutes ago, I said the next generation, of course, but forget about the big words. Concentrate on what it's do. And stay away from packaged solutions. Try to see if it fits you and your organization. You might buy the best anti-malware solution in the entire universe, but if it doesn't fit your organization, what is the use? Don't just, sales professionals are important ladies and gentlemen that you should meet, but don't let them sell what they have in their mind, in the pipeline. Let them sell you what you need. And finally, the best investment is to read. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will also check Twitter, by the way, to see what's happening.
Thank you so much, Erdal, for that well-rounded talk and how you equated, I would say, soccer and its development with cybersecurity, how it's not one single aspect, it's an all-round effort with multiple factors coming together to give you the best solution. So I'm going to open up the floor to the audience to ask a couple of questions. So do you have any questions, guys? Your speech was very inspiring. I think a lot of positive comments, but not a lot of questions, because I think you explained everything very well. There wasn't much.
I'm glad to hear. I can see some stuff in Twitter. I will respond back in Twitter, no problem.
Erdal, there's one question from the audience.
Please.
Beside a plan, knowledge, and tooling, what does a cybersecurity department need more to keep attackers out?
Training, attending sessions like this, red teaming, where possible. You might not have the budget for proper penetration testers, but having at least your internal red team or purple team to give you the latest stats. And please don't forget, look into the details, because the devil is hidden in the detail.
Okay, great point. Fred, I hope that answers your question. There's another one. Is nation state hacking harmful to the public?
You're in India, right? Let's say
Yes.
Pakistan, I use this example for a reason. Let's say Pakistan hacks you and gets your national ID. Is this harmful for you or not? Or Pakistan is the let's say Myanmar in let's say Zimbabwe in Africa hacks India, which is far away, and they put this in a dark web, and someone buys your identity, they create some fake identity, they go to a bank and they get some loan on behalf of you? Will this harm you?
Yes, of course.
I mean, sorry, I asked the question with the question, but all right. What
Okay,
rating?
no, that was from the audience. I'm going to ask the last question. Someone's asked, are there known attacks happening on the public telecom networks through their data provisioning?
Honestly, this is the easy. Like in my previous role, I used to work with lots of telecommunications organizations. Look, if I want to attack your prime minister, I don't know where you are. Let's say you are in Germany. I want to attack Angela Merkel. I don't know her phone number. I have no clue where she is. She's somewhere in Berlin, but she must be using either T-Telecom or one of the 3 or 4 telecom companies in Germany. If I can hack them, if I can get their database, then I can reach out to anybody I want in the world. And unfortunately, hackers do that a lot. Please Google or Bing or Yahoo, there is lots of telecom attacks which is kept under carpet. Thanks to some laws such as GDPR, which is now enforcing the companies to make the news public. We started to learn about those. But in my earlier roles, unfortunately, I worked with many telecom companies. They were attacked and they were keeping it quiet. And of course, it's not my job to speak on what happened, but yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer, Erdal. I think we are out of time, but we really appreciated your very insightful session. And I'm sure the speakers will reach out, the participants will reach out to you on Twitter if they have any more questions that they would like to ask you. Thank you so much for your time, Erdal.
Apologies for the sound issues in the beginning, but we fixed it. All good. Thank you again for the invitation. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be around for the great sessions upcoming.
Awesome. Bye.